Dr. Disrespect, and gender-neutral Vikings, all coming at you on This Week in Geek. So This Week in Geek is a program that I'm going to start trying to do, weekly. I'm going to talk about all the latest and greatest in gaming news and anything geek related that I think is just cool. That being said, there's a ton of cool stuff that happened this week, so let's get straight into it. And something pretty positive, Xbox has teamed up with GameStop, not just to sell the consoles, but GameStop will actually be able to take a cut of all digital downloads on the systems that are purchased at their store. And that includes any kind of digital download, movies, games, DLC, and more. I've been a fan of GameStop for a long time. I used to go to the store all the time to buy my physical copies. And you guys know I prefer physical copies of games. I want a disc. Microsoft is also doing a bunch of stuff in their stores, like streamlining their point of sales and a bunch of other things that's really going to help. In other Xbox related news, they released all of the games that will launch on the Xbox Series X and Series S. Now, a lot of people were disappointed that there's not any, first party big exclusives like a Halo or something of that nature. But there are some really good third-party things like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and especially Cyberpunk. Not to mention all of the great upgrades that you're going to get on the system. So if you had Witcher 3, you're going to get the Witcher 3 upgraded version for your Xbox Series X or Series S. And speaking of Xbox games, Phil Spencer came out and said that they don't necessarily have to release any type of Bethesda games to PlayStation or Switch or anything like that because they have so many platforms already that you're going to be able to play them one way or another, whether it be through Xbox xCloud, which lets you play things on your phone, your smart TVs, and even your smart refrigerators, for those of you who saw that guy playing Doom Eternal on its refrigerator. Plus, with Xbox Games Pass Ultimate, which I have and I love, you can play a lot of those games on PC. So Phil Spencer is right, and they are justified. They made the purchase. If they don't want to do games for the PS5, they don't need to. And it's not like PS5 doesn't have tons of exclusives. That's one of the things that I really get a kick out of when it comes to PS5 fanboys. When stuff was announced for Spider-Man being in the Avengers game or a bunch of other exclusives that were just on PlayStation, they were all for it, and they're talking about Xbox taking an L and all this other kind of stuff. But now that Microsoft has bought a bunch of studios, people are mad because they're going to do exclusives, possibly, for Xbox, Xbox Games Cloud, Xbox Games Pass Ultimate, and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty hypocritical if you ask me. But it's not all gloom and doom for PlayStation owners this week. We got a pretty good guided tour of the user interface on the PlayStation 5. That video now is one of the highest watched and highest liked videos on YouTube at the moment. I've never really been a fan of the user interface on the PlayStation 4, but it looks like they've cleaned it up a lot, and there's a bunch of really cool features that I think will help gamers get into their games quick. It helps you keep track of achievements and things that you're trying to do. Sony also revealed that the fan in the PlayStation 5, that massive fan in that massive system, is going to learn as people play different games. It's going to analyze things and optimize the fan and how it operates as people give more data to them. Another tidbit of information that Sony released didn't have fans so happy, and that's the fact that your in-game chats, your voice messages, and everything else are recorded and can be used against you to ban your account. And depending on what you say and how horrible a person you are, that can also be used against you in legal actions, maybe for hate speech or whatever else. There was a huge outcry. People were really angry. Big surprise, PlayStation fans were angry about something. But Sony did come out and clarify that it's only going to be used for the reporting feature on their consoles. Dr. Disrespect, the Doc, has got his own level, the arena, put into Rogue Company. In addition to that, you also have him in the game itself as a skin, and it does a bunch of talking smack like the Doc would. I think it's really cool, especially after all the stuff that the Doc's been through lately. I wasn't a fan at first, but I've really come around. I like him a lot. He is charismatic, he is a lot of fun, and he is an ambassador for gaming. He's making a lot of big moves that's helping gaming get more and more in the spotlight, streaming more in the spotlight, and showing what you can achieve if you do what you need to do and you do things right as a streamer. Something else people might be excited about is the fact that Assassin's Creed Valhalla made an announcement this week that side quests and main quests and all the stuff that you can do in the game will be designated differently on the map this time. They'll be color-coded with some stuff showing you that it's a side quest or it's a story mission or that it's a collectible, so you know whether or not you want to go and do that quest. And something else that they announced really pissed a lot of people off, and I'm not sure why. I don't think it's a big deal, but if you put the game on the Animus default. You know, the Animus, the machine that's in the game that lets people from the modern day go back in time through the memories of their ancestors, you know, using their DNA or whatever. In the game, if you do the Animus default, you'll play as both the female and male version of Ivar. And for some reason, this has made a lot of people mad. They either want to be only the male player or only the female player. And some people are mad saying, why is there even a female character in the game? Obviously, these people are morons and don't know anything about history or Vikings or culture in general. But again, that's a whole nother video. The fact that you don't know which character you're going to get during the game could be kind of a cool thing. And speaking of historical and cultural events, Burger King has announced that they'll be giving away a bunch of PS5s. Obviously, that's not going to be the case for us here in the GCC. This is only for people in the States, as always. But I think it's pretty cool. You know, all you have to do is go and buy the food that you probably would have gotten in the first place, and you get a chance to get a PS5. Now, I'm not sure how many they're giving away, but I think it's cool that Burger King and now KFC are pretty hip to gaming, and they know that the gaming culture is huge, one of the biggest industries in the world now, at least when it comes to entertainment, of course. But Burger King has always known this, because if you guys remember, they released a bunch of games for the 360 that weren't the best, but they were pretty fun, and you got 200 achievement points for completing each one. It was revealed this week that Rockstar Games have bought Ruffian Games, the creators of Crackdown 2. Now, a lot of people didn't play Crackdown 2, but the ones who did really liked it. Crackdown 2 is the one that took on a more serious tone and tried to have a more overarching story. It had like monsters in the city and things like that. It wasn't a bad game, and I think that this company has a lot of potential to do some great stuff. So the fact that Rockstar bought them and is going to integrate them into the team, I think that bodes well for the future of their open world games, because obviously Ruffian knows what they're doing when it comes to open world. So hopefully this will help Rockstar come out of this mode they've been stuck in with these really stringent rules on your side quests, your main quests, and not being able to do stuff that's outside the box. You have to do it this way. You have to be in this certain spot. I think that gets really old, and it really brought down Red Dead Redemption 2. So hopefully them buying Ruffian Games will remedy that. CD Projekt Red put out another Night City video that shows how they're doing the vehicles in the games, whether it be motorcycles or cars, the different classes, what they can do, what they're good for, and how they also made the cars, whether it was recording the sound, the style of them, and everything else. I was already pretty excited for the game, but this just got me even more excited for it, because it really leads to you being able to play and look how you want to live in this world of the game. And I think that's a big deal, because in this game you can literally, whatever you think and whatever you want to try to do, however you want to go about playing, however you want to go about looking, is possible. But it wasn't just about the cars. They also went into the actual clothing styles of the characters and the different areas in the game, the different gangs and what they look like, and how you can adapt yourself to look, not just your clothing, but the limbs and the augmentation and everything else. I think it's really cool, and it really goes along with the cyberpunk game that this game is based off of, the actual tabletop game. Atari, a company that I've loved since the early 80s when I first started playing games. I've been playing video games that long, people. I'm that old. I'm 43. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It is what it is. You get old and you die. In between, you get to play a lot of cool games, and that's what I've done. See, the advantage is I've got to play games from the very beginning at their most basic all the way up until now, and I've been able to appreciate where games have come from. Something else that I really appreciate is the fact that Atari is doing a chain of hotels, 8 different hotels around America that will be in a cyberpunk style, where you get to do a lot of different stuff that's all gaming related. Of course, you know, here in the GCC, we won't get to experience that, but if you go on a holiday in the States, you'll be able to check it out. And for the last bit of gaming news, a lot of people's favorite rapper, Logic, went ahead and bought a $220,000 Pokemon card this week. It's the card that he's always dreamed of having since he was a kid. A lot of people said, oh, this is preposterous. Why would you spend this money on a Pokemon card? If you could afford something like that, if it's something that you've always loved, you would probably go ahead and get it. It might not be a Pokemon card. Maybe it'll be a painting or a supercar, whatever. You know, everybody has something that they really, truly love, and his just happened to be a holographic Charizard card. So that about does it for this week in Geek. That's everything that I thought was really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for another one next week, and I'll see you next time.